Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Wandi. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for all the love I've been getting, for all the nice messages. I was so happy to read it all. Kisses go out to you all. But today we're going to talk about a much requested topic. Brazil. I'm going to tell you all how much I spent there on the flight, on the accommodation, on everything you want to know. I'm going to talk about how I got there, how I booked my flight, how I booked the stay there. Like, this is all about Rio today. So let's just start right with the motivation of why I wanted to go to Rio and how I actually booked the flight, because I was so scared initially. Like, you won't believe. I let people telling me that South America and Rio was like way too dangerous for me to go alone there. It affected me way too much in the beginning. It actually took me so long to go through with the booking. So I actually planned to go to Rio when I was already staying abroad. So I was in Lisbon at that time. It was October. I was thinking, okay, I'm having like a full gap year. What am I gonna do next? Because I didn't have anything planned yet. And I was talking to a friend of mine. She's actually from Brazil. And I was like, should I really do this? I have all of these countries here. I'm not sure if I'm ready to like book it now, if I'm ready to like take that step. And I didn't know if I had the courage to actually go alone, to actually like be in South America for like 3 whole months, starting with Rio for like a month. And I told her.
And I told her, I say, ma'am.
And she was like, girl, are you crazy? Because like, you'll never have this much time where you don't have to worry about anything like ever again. Probably. Because like I just turned 20, I was 19 at that time. I just finished school. My studies weren't about to start until this year. I don't have to pay for health insurance myself. I don't have to pay for like my housing here in Germany by myself. Because as of now, I still live at home. So I'll never have like this financial like freedom ever again. And she was like, if you're not going, if you don't do that, I will punch you. I will be so mad at you. And the way she said that, it just got me, because like it's true, like I'll never have this much like freedom ever again. After that, life comes right at you, you know, you have to pay for stuff, you now have to move out, you have to pay for all your bills. Normally, you can't just say, okay, I'm gonna pack my bags and I'm off to South America for like 3 months. I'll see you, you know? You can't just say that after like life hits, you know? I was like, okay, you know what, you're right, like fuck it. And I just booked the flight in that exact moment. And I booked that over Skyscanner. You can also look on Kayak and Google Flights, those are my favorites. But I booked it on Skyscanner because I found the cheapest one there. Let me not lie, I think that was 520. And then adding to that, there was like 60 bucks for a suitcase. So I paid 580 for the one-way ticket to Rio, which is actually like a good price. I think, in my opinion, that's a good price. But keep in mind, I booked that 6 months ahead or so, because I booked that in October and I went in April. And then when I had the flight booked, I was like, okay, next step, where do I want to stay? And I had the option between work exchanges or hostel stays or hotel stays or Airbnb stays, and I was like, no, I might try Worldpackers because I've never done that, and I wanted to try a volunteering experience. For those of you who don't know, Worldpackers is an app where you have like a lot of options for volunteering jobs abroad, and you pay like 60 bucks a year for like travel insurance and the app in general. And after that you have to renew it, but I think it's totally worth it. I signed up on that app. It went all pretty like quickly. I paid the 60 bucks and then I had like a lot of options. And then I just put in Rio in the search bar, and this place, Escola Casa do Mar, came up, and I was hooked straight away because working in a school, this is something I definitely want to do. Working with children, working with adults, teaching them English, and the best thing for the people living in Rio wanting to learn English, it was like completely free for them. And the application process works like this: you just like press and apply, and then it tells you in what language you should apply. And the host of that project said you should apply in English, so I'll write a text in English, introducing myself, saying what I'm doing, saying what my qualifications are, kinda. And then after that, everything went pretty smoothly. I just said how long I wanted to stay there, and I selected a month. And pretty much after that, we had like a quick phone call where we just introduced ourselves over Zoom. And the guy was from Britain. It was like pretty easy communicating with him. And he told me a bit about the options, because I actually could choose between 2 places. The first place was in Santa Teresa, where I actually wouldn't recommend you going. But that's just my opinion, because I heard that it's supposed to be like very dangerous, like from Brazilians living there. So I didn't choose that one. So I chose Vidigal, that was the second option. And with Vidigal, it just seemed like so amazing. The hall is really sold to me because you can actually walk around with your phone in the open. You can have a phone call or whatever. Nobody will see your phone. Nobody will assault you or anything because the people there like tourists to come because tourists bring money into the favela and everything benefits from that. And for the most part, the reasoning for that is the gang that's in place there. And me and my friends, we would call them the gun guys. And those gun guys may look like very intimidating with their rifles and everything standing there staring at you, but they actually say like good morning, good day, good night, like they greet you, and they're like the ones responsible for the calmness in the favela because they like tourists coming in because, as I said, they spend money, they help the favela grow, and that's the reason for them taking care of the whole like situation there. So even if somebody would steal something from a store or steal your phone or whatever, you could actually like go to them and tell them about it, and then they would like take care of it, so get you your phone back or whatever. That was like actually pretty funny to me. It's just like every time you would walk home, you would see those like 5 guys standing there with like huge rifles, saying like, yeah, good night, how you doing, like just that was crazy to me. Yeah, it was actually like, yeah, it was a bit funny, but like that's the way to organize a community. So that's why I chose Vidigal. As for the accommodation, like this project was not a work exchange, so I had to pay money for that, but it wasn't a lot. It was $150 for a whole month. And I think the project had a minimum stay of like 2 weeks or something. So I just decided to stay a month that like matched perfectly to my expectations because I wanted to settle in easily into South America because I don't speak any Spanish. I only understand Spanish. And because Portuguese is my second language, I just wanted to settle in there, stay there for a month, see how things are, getting into the solo traveling lifestyle. Also, the school was a big factor for me to stay there a month because I was like, okay, this is gonna be like such a valuable like experience. I just want to like take it all in, like not rush it, really like try and settle in there, and then worry about the Spanish speaking countries. Because if somebody talks to me in Spanish, like, I will understand you, but I just like I cannot reply. I would reply in Portuguese to Spanish speakers, and they would look at me like this, and then like we would try to communicate in a very like infantile manner, talking very like slowly, like pronouncing words like exaggeratively, so we would understand each other. It worked. But anyway, I digress. To tell you how my first day was in Rio, I got there at like 5 a.m.-ish, and I took an Uber to Vidigal, which was actually I think like 20 or 25 bucks. That's a bit much for Rio, but I think Ubers from and to the airport are always expensive, so I guess that was still reasonable. It normally would have been a 20-minute wait, but because it was like working hours, everyone was going to work, the streets were packed, it was full, and that's why it took an hour to get there. But you could already like suck in all the culture, and when I was sitting in the car, I was like, immediately I was like, oh, this is nice. Yeah, this is nice. This is like exactly how I imagined it to be. Because ever since I was a child, I wanted to go to Rio. The 2 dream places in my head were always like Rio and New York. But yeah, so I was already like so excited. We were going to Vidigal. I was there, and then I was texting with the host, and then he told me I had to get money out of an ATM in a pharmacy there to get on a van that took me like up the hill because they only took cash. So I took cash out. It was like a €5 fee. So I took like quite a lot off because I didn't want to like pay that twice. Then I looked for the van, but I couldn't find it, so I asked some people there, and they were like all so responsive. They were all so kind. They knew immediately what I was talking about. This like kind of set public transport for the people living in the favela because everyone has to go up the hill. It was €1 to get up the hill, so you have to tell the driver where you want to get off. And then at the place where I got off, there was the host there. He helped me get my luggage to the house because it was kind of like a complicated way. Sadly, I cannot show you like the way to the house or how the walkways looked. One thing about the favela, it might be safe, it might be taken care of by the gun guys, but you can't film around those like small ways because you might film one of them and then they would think that you would rat them out the police, and that's where the problems come in. So I didn't take any videos. Yeah, we would like basically just go way deeper into the favela. I think that was like a way of like 5, 6, 7 minutes or so. There were like a lot of stairs, so down the stairs was like pretty fast. Just when you like go up the stairs, that's when it takes long. So if that's nothing for you, then maybe not go there, because I've heard stories where people just like saw the staircase and said like, okay, nope, I can't do this for like 2 weeks or something, walking up and down like 4 or 3 times a day. That was pretty fun to me. For me, like I found it manageable, but I could understand why people wouldn't want to do that. Yeah, we got to the house, and then they showed me the facilities, they showed me how everything looked, and it was like really nice. It felt secure because there was a front door, then you would get into that, walk a couple of stairs more, and then you would get to like the main door, and then you would be in the house. I'm gonna show you like a couple of videos here because like the house was, the living space was like kind of like open, like cut open, and then you could just like look directly to the ocean. It was a dream. Like I would go back any day just to have that view again after you just wake up. It would have like 3 stories or 4, I'm not sure. Like downstairs there was a working space, then there was a floor where we stayed, like the teachers and some people in their private rooms, and then there would be another floor, and then above that like a smaller one. Everything was pretty open, like really spacious. It was really nice. And there were 2 hammocks, and let me tell you, those hammocks were like a game changer. Just to lay in there, like then chill, and then just like realize, oh my god, I'm really in Rio. What the heck?
What the heck?
Yeah, the house was super big. We had like a lot of open spaces, common areas. We had a kitchen. We had 2 bathrooms. The sleeping area was like very nice and secluded. But there would be like 6 beds in there, but you had like a lot of privacy because your bed was surrounded by like a wall. It wasn't like a curtain like in other hostels. It was like solid wall, so you wouldn't see anything, you wouldn't hear anything. A lot of people would talk to me standing in the room, and because I was laying down having like solid wall on the side of me, I didn't hear anything. Like maybe I'm deaf, but I think that's like a plus on privacy as well. You would have like a light in there, a locker, you had like a charging hole in there. There wasn't an AC, but you had like a ventilator in your like bed area, just like blowing straight into your face. Your neighbors are monkeys, and the monkeys would come like every other day, every 2 days, just like walking around the house and staring at you. You would stare at them. I gave them a banana, but they didn't want it. They were so cute. They were like the smaller ones. One time there was a monkey that was like kind of like acting crazy. I don't know if you know that, but if monkeys start making like faces and then turn like this and just like, I don't know, like being goofy, it's actually like a sign that they're like kind of aggressive. And one time that happened, and me and my buddy, we would be out of there like so quickly. We were just like, nope. Going straight into the kitchen, like we're not about to like take any chances there. But anyways, on the second day I was ready to explore, so I went outside. I went for a run because there was like the most beautiful sidewalk that I've ever seen. You would run and then you would look to the right, there would be like the hill and the favela and like smaller houses, and then to the left there would be like the open ocean there, and just like so beautiful. And normally I don't like running because like it's boring to me. Here in Germany it's like nothing to see, you know, but there you really get like motivation to like just go out and go for like a run. Then when I got back to the favela, at the bottom I just took a motor taxi up the hill, like a euro every time you do that, and I went up. I've never been on a motorcycle before in my life. That was the first time, and nobody told me that I have to get off on the left side, not the right side, because on the right side there's the exhaust pipe, and I didn't know. So I got off the right side, and I felt like a sting on my leg, and I thought my clothes were stuck on some part. So I got on again, and then I got off again, and then there was this sting again, and I was like, okay, fuck it. I just like hopped off, and then I stumbled a bit, and then the guy said like, oh, are you okay? Like everything, like is everything all right? And I was like, yeah, why? Like, sure, everything's alright. And then I went grocery shopping, went back to the house, made myself lunch, and then I sat down, crossed my legs, and then my eyes met my calf, and there was just like this huge blister. Like, not just one, there were like 3 of it, like one smaller one and then 2 big blisters, and I was like, oh my god, that's what that sting was. I just like burnt myself on this motorcycle. It was so painful, and I couldn't go to the beach for the first 2 weeks of me staying there. Half my time I couldn't go to the beach because I was scared that I would get infected. But the good thing was that almost everyone that I've met there, locals or like tourists or whatever, they all had the same scar on their leg as me. Also at the school, I was telling people about that. Like I was telling students about that when we just like talked about random topics. They were like, oh, look at my leg. They just pulled up their pants, and then you would see this huge like scar as well. And I was like, okay. I'm gonna move on to what a day teaching looked like. The schedule for teaching would be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 4 to 7:30. The first hour would be adults, then the second hour would be children, and the third hour would be adults again. We would all have the material in a group. We could all plan the hour ourselves. With the adults, we would usually just do it like one by one, so everyone could just plan it separately. And it was a benefit to speak Portuguese and English. Some of the people are intermediate, so that's like fine if you don't speak a lot of Portuguese. Some people are already like experts. They just want to go over stuff, talk to people, have conversations with people in English. For that, you don't have to know any Portuguese because those kind of people are so advanced. But then there are also beginners that don't know a lot of English, and then you have to mediate a lot, it will be beneficial if you know Portuguese or at least Spanish. And now for the children, this is not for everyone, I'm telling you. It has been the most like exhausting and both amazing experience I ever did. That says something. It really depends on what kind of kids you have. There are the very small ones, like, I don't know, 6, 7 years old. And then there are other ones who are 10 years old. And then there are teenagers like 12, 13 years old. And they all have very different levels of English. And so we would normally group them up, not do it one by one. And then we would be two teachers per group usually. For the smaller children, it would be more exhausting than with the teenagers. The teenagers would usually want to learn English and come there and be like, okay, they're ready to learn, they're motivated, they listen to you, they do what you ask. That would be very chill. But then like for the smaller children, you would have to have a strong head because they just came from school, came from sports practice and those kind of things. So they're like full of energy. They see their friends again. They want to talk. They want to like play around. You really need like a strong stand on some kids, which I didn't have because I'm very conflict avoidant. In some instances, you need to say like, okay, today's not working out for you. You need to go home. You can come back next week. And I couldn't do that. So I would just be like, can you just please like be silent, or can you just please like sit down? I would never be able to tell a child to their face, you need to leave. Like, no, I think I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Let me tell you, you've never played Uno like the Brazilians play Uno. I've never seen those kind of rules. Me and my friends, we got smoked. At first, I felt like they were playing with me because on 7, you need to shut up. And if you don't, you need to draw cards. And they didn't explain anything beforehand. They just started playing and then we would like continuously draw so many cards. And then on 9, you need to all put your hand on the cards. And the last one who put their hand on the deck would draw a lot of cards as well. Whatever we did, they would come up with a rule that made us draw cards. Nobody plays Uno like the Brazilians play Uno. And at the house, everyone who was working there, the guy who owned the house, the guy who hosted the teaching at the Escola do Mar, and then the guy who did the maintenance at the house, they were all so amazing people. They were so kind. And they would also give efforts to make house events, kind of. We did churrascos very often, like barbecues. We went to volleyball, because they also have a lot of groups in Rio that just like do open volleyball events at the beach. Then we wanted to make a movie night. We had a feijoada night. Me and the other people staying in the hostel dorm, we would get along so well. Our group was amazing. It really felt like home away from home for me. And we would just all get along so well. We were all around the same age. It was such a nice little group.
Guten Tag.
Ich bin Sorka.
Ich bin
Ja.
Ali. Wie wohnst du? Wie geht's?
Dahi.
Oh, what's your problem?
And we would go to exploring a lot. We went to Waterfall, we went to the city, we walked around there, we walked from the favela to the city. We really loved the exploring part of it, and we would just get along so well. I really miss them. Shout outs to you guys. And in Rio in general, like the favela had so much. One day, me and my friends working, we went up the hill there and we went to Dois. It's like a hiking way to the very top of the favela where you can see the whole city. So you don't have to go to the Cristo Rei to see the whole city and you need to pay there. You can do that for free. Like, for free at the favela where we stayed. So the entrance fee is basically either you get them a pack of rice or beans, or you give them like 5 reais, which would be €1. And so me and my friend, we paid with rice and beans, and then we just hiked up the hill. It had the most amazing view. Even though I'm scared of heights, it was totally worth it. Anyways, I can't post any vlogs of Rio on here because I haven't filmed anything this format, just upright ones. So I'm gonna post some vlogs of Rio and what we did there and what you can do there on TikTok. So if you want, you can check that out. The main part of why Rio was so amazing to me was just the whole experience altogether. The teaching experience, the language part, the people who were staying with me in the hostel dorm.
What's up?
Wandi, t'as pas de flow. Ta tête, on dirait un pélo. Ta mère a pleuré en t'ayant c'est chaud. Tu devrais. On sait tous, c'est faux.
We all bonded so much. Also the favela, everyone's super friendly, everyone treated you like family. It was just so amazing. That played a main part in why this experience was so good for me. All the different aspects played so well together for me. I'm so grateful for that. And as for danger in general, I think people told me a lot about it's gonna be dangerous for me and everything going along to Rio. I think some of y'all can relate when I say that if you're black and you go to a community where there's mostly like black people or black influence, you will feel way more comfortable. I felt the same thing when I stayed in Brooklyn in New York. It felt so comfortable for me. Also like New Orleans, I wasn't scared at all. And Rio was kind of the same thing. People just thought I was from there, even though my accent was like way different. I'm half Angolan, so in Angola we have like a different accent than in Rio. If nobody would talk to me, I would look like I was from there. I would really say that Rio had like a big impact on me personally, because I've learned so much. I've met so many people already. The first push into solo traveling and being alone in a foreign continent went so good. Like, not everything went smoothly, of course, but that's like the important part of it, that not everything runs smoothly, so you learn from it. Everything just played into my experience of Rio, and that made it like so much more like valuable. And I would recommend that to each and everyone. I could consider that to be the best time that I've had yet on my whole travel journey. After all that, nothing could beat Rio. My Rio experience will always, I think, be on top. That's all about my Rio experience that I'm gonna share now. If you have any more questions, drop them in the comments or ask me on Instagram. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, ring the bell, subscribe. Here are my socials, and I'll see you next Tuesday.